All right, today we're reading about St. Phanarius again, paraphrasing for about 20 minutes or so. And as I said before, this book can be probably purchased from the Holy Transfiguration Monastery in Brookline, Massachusetts. They have a website online. However, it's published by the Hermitage of Meeting the Lord in the Temple. Oh, no, it's compiled by them. Okay, maybe that's not who published them. Hold on a second. Published and printed in Canada by the Hermitage of the Meeting of the Lord. Command Washington. Okay. Anyway, I know it's put out by the monastery because my brother brought it back from there. So we're on the 99% of the book is just about people who have given testimony of miracles they've experienced from St. Phanarius. And this one is called My Mother's Words Rang Clear in My Mind. This is a pretty long one. And it doesn't have anybody listed as who it came from. That's interesting. So far, all of them have had names and dates. This one doesn't. Well, we'll read it anyway. All right, I have two particular miracles of St. Phanarius that I will never forget. They helped me out of two horrible situations. But the best thing about it was these miracles helped my wife to learn about the intercessions of saints. And eventually, she came to be baptized. I pray for that. The first time I ever called on a saint for help was many years ago. We had people over to visit for a Greek dinner, and my wife sent me with my sister to Costco, it's a food store, to get some legs of lamb. My wife sent the sister along so that I wouldn't get sidetracked at the store, which is funny because I tend to do that too. As we were driving, I saw a field of wild mustard greens. And I said to my sister that we needed to pull the car over, which reminded me of my wife Lisa's words, to get the meat and come right home. So I frowned and said, I don't care. Do you see how beautiful those greens are? It doesn't get any better than that. Besides, we'll fill this garbage bag up, go to Costco, get the lamb, get back home. She'll never know the difference. Sister shook her head laughing and said, she's going to kill you. As it turned out, we filled up the garbage bag and then went to the store. No time flat. And in the parking lot, we were getting ready to get out of the car, and I just remembered that I was in big trouble because my wife's checkbook wasn't on the console of my sister's car where I last recalled seeing it. I tried to trace my steps prior to stopping at the field and getting all the greens and stuff. I looked through the car really well. Thought maybe I put it in my coat pocket when we left the car to pick the greens, and maybe it fell out. Maybe it was in the field while I was picking greens. My sister was pretty amused to point out that my wife was going to kill me. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to save my skin from getting cut off by my wife, and I took my sister's car back to the field, and I systematically searched the field in knee-high grass and greens, trying to find this wallet. And after doing one complete grid sweep of this field, which took about 45 minutes, I decided to try a second time. By this time, my sister had given up and was leaning up against the car, occasionally reminding me that my wife was going to kill me. And about 10 minutes had passed into the next attempt at finding it when I was coming to the realization that I was going to go home with a bunch of weeds and no lamb and no wallet, which also happened to have my wife's ID in it. Time was ticking and the dinner party was coming up quick. So I stopped my search for a moment in the middle of this huge field, about 15 acres, and racked my brain trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then my mom's words popped into my head. Under the circumstances, baking a cake and distributing it to the poor seemed like a really good idea compared to facing my wife without the lamb. So I crossed myself and said a prayer to St. Phanarius to help me. I opened my eyes and took a deep breath, and I took no more than 10 feet from me, and on top of grass and wild greens that were oddly flattened down was a wallet. I grabbed it, thanked the saint in prayer, and promised to bake a cake and give it to the poor, which I did, which is a whole nother story. And then I hurried back home and recounted all the details of what happened with my sister to my wife. And as it turned out, my wife and I had just enough time to get the food made before everybody got to the party.